Hi, Daphne. I'm Dr. Christine Carter, and I hear you have some questions for me.
Yes, and thank you so much, Dr. Carter, for taking time to speak with me about New Year's resolutions. My first question is, why do you think it's important for children to set New Year's resolutions?
I think it's really important for children to set New Year's resolutions because it teaches them a core life skill, and that is to make positive changes in their lives when they aren't prompted by a trauma or a crisis. A lot of times as adults, we make really big life changes when we have a health crisis, for example. But we also need to show kids how to make big life changes that will make us happier just because of the new year or because we want to grow each year as a person.
Thanks. My next question is, why do you think that most people quit working towards their New Year's resolutions within the first few weeks of the new year?
I believe that most people quit working towards their New Year's resolution goals in the first few weeks of the new year because we bite off more than we can chew. We make long, ambitious lists of resolutions of everything that we'd like to change in our lives. And in fact, we can't do that. Willpower is like a muscle. It's a limited resource in our lives, and we only have so much to apply to making a new change. So when we bite off more than we can chew, we tend to have really spectacular failures in January.
So what approach should people take when setting a New Year's resolution?
I recommend that the approach people take in setting New Year's resolutions is to really just focus on one ridiculously easy life change at a time. So in the Hampton Hotels survey, they showed that 38% of people really felt that willpower was going to be their largest obstacle to keeping their resolutions. And most people are right. Willpower is going to be an obstacle. So lessen that by focusing in on just one little change that you can make at a time, one ridiculously easy change. It's so much better to make small, steady steps towards change than it is to bite off more than you can chew.
Thanks, that's great advice. What can people do to ensure that they reach their New Year's resolutions?
One simple thing that people can do to ensure that they keep their New Year's resolutions is to find somebody to keep them accountable for it, or even a group of people that will help provide some social support. So in the Hampton survey, 21% of people felt that they were going to, so in the Hampton survey, 21% of people felt that they didn't have anybody to hold them accountable. And this is really going to hinder your success if you aren't able to find some social support, find another person to keep you honest in keeping your resolutions. So tell people what it is you're trying to do. Post it on Facebook or on Twitter. Join an online community like the one that you can find at ChristineCarter.com that will help you find an online community like the one at ChristineCarter.com that will provide some social support for you in keeping your New Year's resolutions.
My last question is, being that most people don't achieve all of their New Year's goals, do you think this could affect their self-esteem? If so, what can they do to avoid this feeling of failure?
Because most people don't keep all of their New Year's resolutions, their self-esteem can be affected and your confidence can be rocked a little bit if you really want to make a change and then you aren't able to do it. So it's really important, I think, to learn a little bit about what it takes to start a new habit, to break an old habit, to get some of the science behind how we as human beings are able to make changes, and then focus on the things that you can do. It's really important to acknowledge that a lapse in keeping a resolution is really different than a relapse. So everybody's gonna stumble a little bit, and everybody is gonna have days in which they don't keep their resolution. But that doesn't necessarily indicate that you're not gonna keep it over the long term. A lapse is not a relapse in that a stumble is not a fall. So it's really important to remember that a lot of times the way human beings make change is to take 2 steps forward and then 1 step backward. And that's okay because over the long haul, those changes will be made.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. This is really great advice. Hopefully everybody will achieve their New Year's resolutions in 2013.